Hi, everybody. It's Michael. I'm on with Damon and Devankar, both talented associate members of the Rotary District 6400 RYLA group. And Damon's been involved for a couple, 3 years now, yeah, after you
Yep.
graduated.
Yep, it's about three now.
And Devankar, how many for you?
This is my first year serving as on the associate team, but I was a RYLA member myself back in 2014, and I spoke last year on a Rotaract. So
Okay, very
excited to
good.
help out.
And you're the president, the current president of the Wayne State Rotaract, correct?
I am, yep, currently, yep.
And Damon, where are you going to school?
I go to Wayne State as well.
That's
Oh,
why,
no way, Damon.
Yes.
that's why I thought you guys knew each other this whole time. You both are RYLA graduates. You're both going to the same school, and yet you've never actually physically met, I guess.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damon, you got to come out to our Rotaract Club meetings.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
So you
Michael's
guys-
actually coming to the next one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to speak, and he's looking for 30 people, so you just found the first one.
Definitely.
All right, very good, guys. So what we're going to do is give some tips today on how to command a room from as a speaker. You can use this technique when you're delivering presentations in class for classes. You can use it when you are interviewing for a job. You can certainly use it later on in life if you become a salesperson or a professional speaker or a leader of any type. And most importantly, at least in the near term, we want you to use these techniques when we're at Schoolcraft College in November with 100 plus high school leaders, because we're going to put you in the front of the room and we want to set you up for success. So we're going to share 3 or 4 tips with you in this call, strategies really, that will help you be that much more impactful and effective. Is that okay with you?
Sounds good.
All right, let's start with tip number 1. And I call this tip the yell at the dog technique. Some of you have maybe heard me do this before. But when a lot of people get in front of a room, they think less of themselves than they should. You really should think more of yourself when you're in front of the room. So we all have various levels of esteem issues. When I grew up, I didn't have any confidence in myself at all. When I was your age, I didn't have much confidence. And so when I would get in front of the room, my voice would become quiet. My gestures would become muted. My facial expressions were, non-existent, right? Because I was afraid to show myself. I wasn't myself. And so we want you to be comfortable. And so one of the ways to do that is a technique I call the yell at the dog technique. Of course, I say that tongue in cheek. If you don't want to yell at your dog, you don't have to. But if you can imagine your dog actually did something wrong, you would raise your voice to yell at the dog. Do you have a pet, Damon?
Yes, I do. I have one dog.
And what's the name of the dog?
Rocky.
Rocky. Okay, so Rocky's ever done anything wrong?
Oh, yes.
And I imagine you might have to yell at him once in a while.
Yes, for sure.
Devankar, do you have any pets?
I used to have a pet, so I know how it is. Used to have a
Okay.
dog.
That's it.
Yeah.
So when Rocky does something wrong, Damon, you've been kind of chill in this so far because it's that kind of environment on this call. But you wouldn't say, "Hey, Rocky, we need you to stop urinating on the carpeting." It wouldn't be like that, would it?
Right. No, not at all.
What would it sound like?
Hey, stop that
That's
right now.
That's right. And so what happened when you said stop that is your eyebrows went up and your the corners of your mouth came out, and I saw about 10 of your teeth, right? And the volume went up,
Yeah.
right? Bless you. And the volume went up, and that's why we call it yell at the dog, because you're simulating that you're yelling at the dog. It's the same volume, but you smile when you're in front of the room. If I'm angry at Rocky, I say, "Hey, Rocky, stop that right now." But if I'm in front of the room, I say, "Hey, everybody, sit down right now. Let's get started." You see the difference? But
Yeah.
it's the same kind of energy. So that's the first technique. It's called yell at the dog. Second technique is called congruence. It's a little bit more scientific than the yell at the dog technique. But congruence we've already touched on, because if I'm telling you something I'm excited about, I want to gesture like this, or I want to lean forward like this, or I want to step forward. And when I do that, my eyes will get big, and I'll give you, see the difference between a 0-tooth smile and a 2-tooth smile, or 4-tooth, and a 10-tooth smile. See the difference? And so I tell you up front, guys, I'm a very honest and straightforward speaker, but a lot of times on stage, it's a fake smile. You know, I'm faking it because maybe I'm having a bad day, or maybe I don't quite feel it yet. But I know that I owe the crowd my very best. So I don't think it's disingenuous. And so this congruence thing is, if I tell you I'm excited, I act excited, right? I don't say one thing and do another. Dr. Jim is joining us. I don't say one thing and do another. If I tell you I'm happy to be here today, you're going to see it in my face, you see? And this is especially hard for gentlemen to do, Damon, because we are taught to not, to protect our emotions. Do you see that quality in yourself sometimes?
I guess so. I'm usually pretty open with feelings and my emotions and all that, but I definitely understand.
Okay, very good. And the same thing with you, D. A lot of times it's the ladies and the girls that we're around who are, the word is ebullient. They're the ones who are very easy to read. When women say good morning, they practically sing it. Good morning. Guys don't do that. We like purse our lips. Morning. Morning.
I think you talked about that one time before. I heard you say something about that. Lady walked by, said good morning, and then guy just nods.
That's it, because that's how we are. But when you can open up a little bit, maybe I'm doing it again with my hands, when you can open up a little bit, you'll find that you become much more powerful in the front of the room, because you're showing this thing now called congruence. So the first thing that we talked about was the yell of the dog. The second thing that we talked about was congruence. And the third thing that I'm going to show you today is called the power of three. The power of three. Now, you can refer to this in different ways, but what it essentially does is it lets you know very quickly that I know what I'm doing, I've done this before, and you can trust me with a good outcome. Now, it happens to be, I just showed you three things, but those are the three results when I use the power of three. I've also used the power of three to show you how you can speak without notes. But let's just focus on this right now, that if I got up in front of you and I say Dr. Jim had asked me to, and this is an unusual request at RYLA, get everybody seated and get their attention. So that's your assignment, right? So you say, you get up in front of the room, or you get on the microphone like we do at Schoolcraft Guys, and you say, hey, everybody, I've got three things I need to tell you. First, get a beverage. Second, sit down. And third, shut up, right? Because, and you don't have to use those words exactly, but what you're doing is, it's a very orderly and together way of saying, I'm in charge now, at least for the next 2 minutes. Listen to me. Because being in the front of the room is about influence, and it's about persuasion, and it's about getting people to do what you want them to do. And in that assignment, you're trying to get them to sit down and be quiet. So for you to say, okay, everybody, three things quickly: get a beverage, sit down, and shut up, or sit down and be quiet. We're about to start the program. And that's a very, very fast way to tell people. It's like being a driving. Is you got the steering wheel at 10 and 2, you're in control, you're in charge. It's pretty cool. Okay?
Cool, yeah. And Michael, I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you swipe over, you can break us into 4 screens.
I got you there now.
Cool. Okay. And the rule of 3 is actually really great. I think I was reading somewhere elsewhere, but about this rule itself. So this is definitely well known in a way that people should be doing this. When you're giving a presentation, you should try to focus on 3 points, I believe. And even if you have more than 3 points, you give them 3 points so they don't get overwhelmed with the information. You have 10 points to say. You still tell them, I'm trying to focus on these 3.
That's right.
And then you start talking about everything, right?
Yeah, and there's just something about saying, I have 3 things I want to tell you. It's like, what I've just subtly told you is I've prepared this already. I've thought it through. I'm not making this up as I go. And it's like saying, give me your time and attention because I'm worthy of it. So it's a very subtle way of getting people to just sit down or sit up and take notice. Very, very nice. One other thing. I told you I was going to teach you 3 or 4 tips. Here's the 4th strategy. Are you ready? The 4th strategy is how to establish eye contact when there are 100 people in the room. Damon, you have an idea on this? 100 people. How are you ever going to establish eye contact with all 100?
Let's see. I mean, you could maybe when you walk around, kind of pick a couple people throughout the rows and just kind of
Yes,
distribute eye contact between a few people.
that's exactly right. So let's address that one. I'm going to show you three techniques, actually. Oops, I just did it again. But three techniques for eye contact. The first one is play favorites. Now, this is important, Damon, that you play favorites with people who are actually giving you some energy back. Sometimes I find myself dwelling on people who are not, the people that are not giving me any love at all. And they drain me of my own superpower, right? Hi, Jill and Jim, we can hear you.
Yeah, that's good.
Welcome. We've got Damon and Devankar on so far today. So that's the first thing, guys, for eye contact is you're going to play favorites with people who have positive energy. Second thing is you're going to work the V's. Now, I'll show you this with my hands. If I'm on stage right now and there are 100 people in front of me, right? So I'm going to play the V's. So there's one giant V of everybody in the room. But if there's two aisles, if there's an aisle down the middle, two sections, I can do a V this way or I can do a V this way. You got it, Damon?
Got it.
So when I'm looking at this side of the room, these people won't be getting my eye contact, but they will when I move over here. I just have to remember to come over here. And sometimes I'm watching recordings of myself and I find myself favoring the left side of the room. I have no idea why. I just chose to favor. It's so obvious. I didn't know it at the time, but I see it afterward. So you want to try to do 50-50 when you can. And then you can also do tinier slivers of the room like this, right? Tiny. And because they never know really who you're looking at because because of the distance, especially in a room of 100 people. So you just keep moving your head around. Now, what a lot of people do is they cheat. They walk all the way over here, and then they walk all the way over here, and they walk all the way over here. You don't have to walk at all. All you have to do is just do the V's. You see? That's it. And then the final technique is this thing I call the four corners. It's a version of the V. So there are two front corners of the room and two back corners of the room. And I never leave the people that are sitting in those four spots. I never leave them out of my scan. So I'll go over here to the far corner, this young man over here. I'll go to the young lady over here wearing the brown top. And I'll go to the big football player looking guy in the back of the room over here. And I go to the guy that looks like a scientist over in this corner of the room. And I describe them to you because I'm looking at people. I'm not looking at eyes. I'm looking at human beings. And that way they feel like I'm connecting with them. So those are some strategies for establishing eye contact. So just to finish up, we did how to yell at the dog or actually come across with some authority and some power in the room with a volume to your voice. Number two, this idea of congruence, which is saying what you do and doing what you say. The third one is this idea of conveying the power of three, which sends a signal that you're organized, that you deserve their attention. It's also helpful for speaking without notes if you like to use it for that. And then finally, eye contact. And the three techniques were, Damon said, playing favorites. You establish a personal connection with 3 or 4 people. The V's that we talked about, and then the 4 corners. And that's a summary of our call for today. What questions can I answer for anybody, either related to what we talked about or something fresh?
We got to do this again somehow.
Yeah, we'll do it again, Jim, with different topic, subject matter, but I'm recording this as a video, and then I'll upload the video natively to the RYLA associate page, which means that video then can be shared anytime by any of you or anybody that's an admin.
We're just going to get some notice to the other ones.
Agreed. Agreed.
Somehow.
Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Hey, great to hear. I'll definitely, we have a group chat, so I will mention it to the other associates to try to take part if they missed this one, to take part in the next one. It'd be very good for them.
Well, just give about a week's notice or something or other. What if you
yeah.
can manage that?
I've asked Josie to be Facebook page admin, Jim, at your suggestion. I'm not sure she's quite in the saddle on that yet, but she would be the best conduit so that once I announce that we're doing the video, she can then push it out to everybody in email or text or however she wants to do it.
Yeah.
But I think we should enlist everybody, Damon if Damon had a learning buddy as the associates, like Devankar, or Devankar had another learning buddy, then everybody would be notifying everybody, and it wouldn't be such a bottleneck at the top.
Right. Okay.
And then, Devankar, can I get a part of that group chat?
Yeah, no problem. What is your phone number?
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm going to turn off the recording, and we'll share that kind of information.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But thank you so much for being on the call, and I'm going to turn off the recording, and all of us, we can talk openly about whatever else you want to talk about, okay?
All right.
We're going to see all of the associates at the RYLA event this year. It's the second weekend in November at Schoolcraft College. We have the best associates in the world, and we're going to be putting you in front of the microphone a little bit more often this year so that you can gain that experience, and it'll show up in so many ways in your life moving forward. So we're so glad that you're part of it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.